Have you ever faced a moment where one wrong choice could destroy everything you are trying to protect? This is where Qingyue stands now, between a collapsing world and a dream twisted into a nightmare. The storm began long before she arrived. Shadows moved under calm skies. Danger grew in silence, waiting for the moment to swallow everything she cared for. Qingyue understood the risk when she gave Baijusi's sword to Mengchu's master, because only Baijusi and Qingyue together could destroy the ancient stone, called the Infinite Stele, a terrifying relic that could control all spirits. But Baijusi had lost his mind, his clarity stolen by fate, leaving Qingyue to guard both swords alone. She knew if the swords fell into Xiao Jingshan's hands, the world would crumble under his plan. So she hid the two swords in different places, cutting off his path. Even if it meant weakening her allies, even if it meant fighting alone. She chose the safety of the world over all else, a choice heavy like a mountain. Yet she carried it without hesitation. When she returned to the familiar village, a cold wind passed her cheek, and she felt something terribly wrong. Where there should have been laughter and smoke rising from kitchens, there was only stillness, the kind of stillness that makes your heart freeze. The village was dead, not in body, but in soul. People stood like empty shells, their spirits stolen, their eyes hollow, their smiles missing. Fanlinger stepped forward, her sharp eyes scanning the land. She saw the pattern hidden between grass and stone. This was prepared long ago, she said quietly. Xiao Jingshan planned this from the beginning. Her voice shook with anger and fear. She asked Zhang Xuan to read the flow of spiritual energy, and moments later, the traces pointed to one man, the man they feared the most. Xiao Jingshan stepped out of the shadows, calm, cold, almost proud. He said the stolen souls were locked under a stone he created himself, a horrifying artifact called the Pleasure Stele, a place that traps people in fake joy, a dream that feels perfect, so perfect it becomes a prison. Qingyue looked at him with sorrow. Once they had walked the same path, believed in the same hope. Now he stood before her like a stranger wrapped in darkness. She tried to talk to him. She tried to pull the last piece of humanity out of him. But Xiao Jingshan was too far gone, his heart eaten by revenge, his mind chained by obsession. He believed only in his new world, a world where he could bend fate and rebuild everything, even if it meant destroying all that lived. Meanwhile, far away, Mengchu and Ku Xingmen returned to Yin Lotus sect, only to find it twisted beyond recognition. A place once quiet and pure, now covered in gloom, filled with strange spiritual pressure. The sect's own beasts attacked them, creatures who once loved Ku Xingmen, now hungry and violent. Reality turned upside down. Friend became foe. Home became fear. Qingyue had no time to lose. She led Baijusi into the illusion created by the Pleasure Stele. Inside, the villagers were laughing, dancing, living a life without pain. A life too perfect to be real. A life shaped by someone else's will. She felt sick. How could suffering spirits laugh? How could death turn into joy? Nothing made sense. Then a voice echoed through the illusion, calling for the arrival of the Divine Lord. Everyone fell to their knees, all except Qingyue and Baijusi, who stood tall, their silence louder than a shout, their refusal more threatening than a blade. People screamed at them, accusing them of disrespect, of blasphemy, of being evil. Hate grew like wildfire. 8 followers entered carrying a grand palanquin. Inside sat Xiao Jingshan, dressed like a ruler, eyes cold like frozen lakes. He stepped out slowly, his smile sharp as a knife. Baijusi immediately moved in front of Qingyue, shielding her with his own body. Xiao Jingshan raised a hand, as if inviting her to admire his creation. He wanted her to accept his new world, a dream he claimed was beautiful, a future he believed she should help him build. He wanted her to join him, to betray everything she believed in. But Qingyue refused. Her heart was steady, her will unbroken, even as fake villagers pointed at her, calling her demon, demanding her death, their hatred crushing the air around her. Outside the illusion, Mengchu and Ku Xingmen fought through dangers, their bodies bruised, their courage tested. They reached the main hall of the sect only to see Xiao Jingshan sitting on the throne, as if he had always belonged there. He brought out Ake and Mengchu's master, both controlled by his spell. Then he made a cruel command: choose one to live, the other dies. Silence stabbed them like cold metal. How could anyone choose? Ku Xingmen cried. Mengchu trembled, their hearts torn apart. But Lu Seguan stepped out without hesitation. She chose Mengchu's master, a decision sharp and swift. Yet the master shook his head. He would not let his disciple suffer for him. With a final look of pride and love, he ended his own life. The hall turned cold. Hope cracked like thin ice. Grief hit everyone like a wave. The pain too heavy to speak. Xiao Jingshan watched without blinking, as if he enjoyed the breaking of their hearts. Meanwhile, far above the world, in the ninth heaven, seals that held ancient monsters began to shatter. Shadows burst out. Creatures roared in freedom. The land trembled. Wang Yuan fought to protect the heavens. But a monstrous poison burned through his flesh, rotting his arm bone by bone. Knowing he could not fight like this, he cut off his own arm, gritting his teeth, choosing duty over pain. Then he sent Li Mo to face Bai Jusi, a battle neither wished for. Li Mo hesitated, heart torn, but when the human-shaped Red Lotus called him back, he returned to the battlefield with fire in his eyes, even if it meant dying. Li Qingyue watched illusions twist around her. People who once tried to kill her now smiling at illusions, her own memories rising, her past suffering drowning her heart. Fear mixed with anger, pain mixed with hate. Jiang, Swan, and Fan Linger rushed to her side, protecting her with all they had, refusing to let darkness swallow her. Bai Jusi saw the war in her heart. He spoke softly, trying to guide her away from despair, begging her to hold onto her own light, because the world was collapsing, because every person was being pulled by illusions and lies, because Xiao Jingshan's dream looked beautiful on the surface, but underneath was only obedience, only emptiness, only chains. Li Qingyue stood between the futures, one glowing with false happiness, one painful but free, and she had to choose which world deserved to survive. Her choice would decide everything. Who would live? Who would die? Which truth would rise? Which hope would fade? Her hands held the swords, her heart held a storm, and the world waited for her answer because destiny would move with her next step. But what will that step be? Will she save this world, or watch it burn under the illusion of joy? The answer remains hidden in the next chapter, waiting like a shadow behind a door she has not yet opened.